Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's vOLTHA TST call. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded. Will be shared live on YouTube, so please be mindful of the comments you make and the information you share, as they will be publicly available. First of all, I just want to give a final update. I think it's going to be the last one on the Kafka to gRPC move. We have ran all the patches over the weekend with good success, I would say. We only saw very minor issues in a couple of tests. One is the multi-OLTs test, and that Ken brought up, and once in a while the reconciliation test in one of the three workflows for the OpenONU Go fails. These are very intermittent issues, happens like 1 in 5 times. So actually 1 in 15 runs of the reconciliation test, because it runs 3 times per test, because it does 3 workflows. So my decision, and this is not debatable, is that we are going to merge the patch today. And this is agreed upon with the team at Siena, Ken and David, and also the ONF team. So today will be the day we will merge the patches. What will happen is that then all the existing patches on effectively everything will have to be rebased on top of these. So anything on the new adapter, on the OpenOLT adapter, the core, the vOLTCTL, the protos, everything needs to be rebased. Actually, I don't know if anybody paid attention, but the protos and the libgo are actually already in as patches. So those are present already in the gRPC move, was already merged for those. So today we'll merge the rest, and we will take the time to address those small issues that we have seen in our tests during the upcoming days. But at least we have ourselves freed up the rest of the patches that are pending the gRPC move to be merged, especially things like that are very important for the release, like the logging, some voice over IP stuff, some further implementation from Imani for the PM data and things like that. So that's the current status of things. Ken, Girish, Theo, anything you want to add?
No, I think you said it all. The only thing I will say is because there has been patch, like you said, that they need to be rebased. So if anybody need help or any pointers, you can just contact me and I'll help you out in case you're having a rebasing problem.
Oh, thanks, Ken. That is really much appreciated. Much appreciated of you. Thanks a lot. That is great. Just to keep in mind, if anybody wants and is interested, you don't have to rebase locally. If everything goes well, you can just hit the rebase button on Gerrit, and that will do it for you. If it says there's a conflict, then you're out of luck and you have to rebase it locally. But if your patch is not affected by the changes that Girish has made in the OpenOLT adapter, or Ken has made in the core OLT adapter or new adapter, things like that. If not affected by any of these changes, well, then you can go ahead and just rebase it on Gerrit. That will help us. That will effectively free up some of your time because it's much faster. Okay. Theo, do you want to share some of the scale results that we have seen with the gRPC patches?
Yeah, so I don't have any definitive result yet because we're having some issues with the cluster. But from the runs that we made with the gRPC image and the current version of the OLT application, we are seeing result in the same range as with the Kafka-based application. They look to be slightly faster, but we're talking about tens of seconds faster, not a huge difference. Anyway, as soon as we solve the issues with the cluster itself, I'll prepare some better comparison between what will be master and vOLTHA 2.8, and I'll share the results on the mailing list.
I had one question. So you said it is faster. What about the resource consumption? Is that still the same, or we're doing better on that as well?
I honestly don't have any numbers there. There will be some benefit for sure, because we won't have a Kafka cluster that has to propagate 1,000 of messages. But I don't think the resources of the vOLTHA components will change much per se.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I do believe that the RAM and CPU of the Kafka cluster will be less. How much, that I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely save some resources on Kafka, but I imagine that the core, the adapters, etc., will have the pretty much the same impact.
Yeah. They might even grow a tiny bit because they now have some stuff that Kafka was doing before. So one question that I have, and maybe this goes to operators or like to system integrators that are working with operators, Amit, Mahir, and people like that. Do we still want a 3-node Kafka cluster, or given that Kafka is then just used for events, it would be okay for Kafka to restart? It's a question. I don't know the answer to it. I'm asking everybody here.
What is the problem about Kafka restart, by the way?
No. There's no problem. I was just asking if, given that we are not using it as an internal communication bus anymore, would we be okay with a single instance of Kafka instead of a 3-node instance? That could save us some. That could save us some resources.
Good question.
But Andrea, in any real deployment, it would always be at least 3 nodes, right? So
it depends. If the operator is okay allowing a small window of Kafka restart with persistency may be enabled, maybe it doesn't need to be 3 nodes. It's a question. Again, I don't know the answer. I'm asking you guys. If you tell me it needs to be 3 nodes, then it's going to be 3 nodes.
So at least
I think maybe just one thing on that. It's the Kafka client that we're using, and maybe it's not really the client that we're using the Sarama client, and we have wrapper on top of that. And the way we're using it at this time, I think the internal wrapper assumes that Kafka is always there. So I think if you have a Kafka restart, things can go wonky. I've never tested that, but if you have only one Kafka, if we want to go towards one Kafka, and that's okay. I think we may need to have some minor changes in the Kafka client that we have to make sure that it's if Kafka restart, it just it doesn't it just reconnect, and that's it. Okay.
Then, as I said, I'm totally fine with keeping it a 3-node. I'm just I was just speculating if that was a possibility to reduce it to 1 node. But for now, let's not go there. Let's keep it 3 nodes. If we see performance issue, we go to 1 node. I think that's probably a solid answer.
I don't think Kafka will affect performances in any way at this point. Whether it's 1 node or 3 nodes, we're just basically pushing messages in there for alarms, etc.
Yeah, a few events. Agreed. Okay. Okay. Actually, this is done. The flow reordering issue. This is something that you were working on, Theo. What should we do about this? I think that was.
So that was part of my preliminary debugging of the new LT application. I made no progress on it in the last 2 weeks as I was helping the gRPC effort. I will leave it open for a little bit till I get back looking at the new OLT app.
Okay, so let me actually move this under the OLT app. It doesn't make any sense to be here. Okay, and we're going to talk about that later. Okay, anything else on the Kafka to gRPC move? No? Okay, then if not, as I said, we're going to merge the patches. You'll have to rebase everything for yours, but I think we did a very good job, and there was a lot of bug fixes that went in. It was a lengthy process. It was not easy at times, but I think we managed pretty well. Thanks a lot to Ken and David and Theo and Girish, especially for the help, and Mahir and Open on you guys as well for giving a hand. Okay, so next up is the stale etcd state. I don't know if Serkant is on the call. Yes. So I saw that you added a patch, Serkant. You actually revamped the existing patch.
Yes, correct. But Girish has a comments on that one for the OpenOLT adapter patch. So I need to also update the cache, but there are some problems because there is no way to access the keys, because at the time of one of the UNI port is cleared, I don't know all of the key values, so I need to think on that, how to solve those problems. Maybe if you can open the patch, I have some chats with Girish for the OpenOLT adapter.
This one.
Yeah.
So Girish, do you have any comments here? Can you elaborate a little bit on what's the issue?
I also put my comments after Girish, but probably I didn't reply. I need to do that. So there is a cache that delete packet in GAN port for ONU cache. This cache also need to be cleared, but I don't have all the key values to access all of the exact keys. So need to find a way how to clear this cache. Also, I have some concerns about this cache might be a huge one, and deleting one by one all of the cache values might be a time-consuming job. Maybe with another patch, we need to solve that problem also.
Okay, so are you saying that you also need to revamp that vOLTHA libgo patch that you had for deleting all keys at the same time in the TCD? Is that what you're saying?
No,
vOLTHA libgo. Sorry, yes, my bad.
We already have the libgo patch. It's merged.
Ah, okay. So you just need to use that.
I am using that patch in this patch, but for the cache, we need to find something else. So from the KV store, I am using the delete with prefix method to clear all of the entries. But for the cache, I cannot do that because I need all of the keys to delete one element from the key, from the map. Probably need to iterate all of the cache values, key values, and find the key and delete those entries.
But that's going to be time consuming at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gori says I put some comments. Anyway, we can talk this problem offline, I guess.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do that. Okay.
So, guys, Girish is having some issues with his microphone, but he said he's going to comment on the patch with some possible ways of clearing the cache.
He's just muted. Okay, but in any case. Thanks, Girish, for putting the comments in. I'll let you take it offline with Serkant. Go ahead, Theo.
One thing that is related to the delete, I'm not sure I'm strictly related to the cleanup, but yesterday I tried removing two vOLTHA devices, doing a disable delete after a scale test. And looks like we cannot really remove them. I haven't investigated it at all, but I let it running for, so I issued disable for both vOLTHA, delete for both vOLTHs, and then I waited 10 minutes and all of the devices were still there.
Yeah. It is gonna be a problem, I guess. So because what we are doing, we are trying to clear all of the values one by one. So probably it would need more time. So you are saying 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
I don't know. To me, it feels a little strange that we can provision the devices in less than 10 minutes and we cannot remove them.
Yeah, correct. And this also applies in vOLTHA restart case. So we definitely need to fix this problem because we need to be able to clear all of the caches, all of the things in the KV store and in the caches in 3 minutes, I guess.
Even less.
It may be even less, yes.
Okay, this is a good point. Thanks for bringing it up, Theo. I think it ties in. Let's have it there. So, Serkan, this actually goes back to what you were saying about not having the capability to delete elements by key because you're missing the keys, or this is just completely different because
it is gonna be completely different patch, I guess, or test.
Okay. So Theo, maybe one thing that could be interesting to do, again, somewhat of a low priority, but maybe you could do it at some point, is that if you could have a non-critical test that checks how long it takes for deletion at scale. I mean, I'm saying basically announcing the scale test with including deletion. For now, non-critical because we know it will fail.
The scale test already has that test that is now not running.
Okay.
Because if you delete the device after a test fails, then it's impossible to debug it.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
But I'll see if I can run it conditionally only if the test succeeds.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good, yes.
So one scale test for restarting an OLT would be good, I guess, Matteo. For example, after provisioning 10 OLTs, restart one of the OLTs and check how much time it takes.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of enhancements we can do on the scale test. Because for now, we have only tested the APKs in which everything works.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But let's go in steps. One of them being let's have this deletion test run conditionally. If the test succeeds, then we try to delete it. I think it's a good first step.
Yes. I agree.
Okay, good. And there's this one, which is the same as we discussed before. So let's actually remove it from here and have it in the OLT app. So a little bit of an update on the OLT app. I've done some work. There were a lot of good comments from Pierre and Tunahan from Netsia, so thanks for those. I incorporated most of them, actually all of them, in the latest upstream patch for the repo. And I know Theo has been testing it. So Theo, do you want to give us a little bit of an update on some of the tests that you ran with this app? I know you were mostly focused on gRPC, but maybe you have something that you can share.
So the only test I ran lately with that app were a few run at scale. And what I have observed is that Deutsche Telekom and Torque Telekom, the tests succeed with no issue. With AT&T, when we're having some issues with authentication, and I tracked it down, some of the packets are lost between ONUS and Radius. I think that is an effect of the flows arriving to BBC much closer to each other, and that causes BBC to send equal packets much closer to each other. But when I tell BBC to retry authentication if it fails, then the build seems to be passing reliable, and we don't see the issue on the flow removal anymore. Does it make sense?
Yes. This is very good. This is very, very good. We said we're gonna keep the flow ordering issue for after the gRPC move. We still have to do the publishing of the events on Kafka. That's something we have to do. It might require a little bit of changes because it was. I started looking into it but I didn't have the time to finalize it. But it seemed to me that a little bit of architectural change might be required. We'll have to check that to make sure that we send the Kafka events properly. But that's okay. That's not a big deal. So that's one of the remaining things that we have to do as features. But we're gonna focus on this one as soon as this gRPC stuff gets merged, and we get through the train of patches that are out to be merged. We get everything there, and then we start this new change that's similar to the gRPC in some sense. Anything you want to add, Theo?
No.
Okay. Thanks then. Good. Any questions for Theo on the gRPC app? No? All clear? Okay. The MPLS support, I don't think there are any updates, Amit, right?
Yes, Andrea, no updates on that.
Okay, thanks. Instead, Mahir second the voice over IP support. Any update on that?
No updates currently. The probably in this week I'll be able to insert the voice over API in the documents.
Okay, that would be great. We can review it next week then. Okay, so the last topic for today, but I think it's actually going to be a good one, is the technology profile API in vOLTHA. So just a bit of recap. Last time we discussed the possibility of having a vOLTHA API to insert into whatever backend storage we have the technology profile in order for an operator not to have knowledge actually of the storage that vOLTHA is using. And we could argue that the debug, the log setting could also be done in such a way, but that's a whole story for another time. Let's start with the technology profile. So I've taken a look at what is existing out there, and it is existing the technology profile proto because the OpenOLT agent uses it. This, as Serkan pointed out, this API was actually defined in the CIBA reference design profile document. So my take is that one of the objections that was made last time was that we don't want to have a thin wrapper over etcd just through vOLTHA. And also, we don't want the core to be technology aware. So I think that at least for the technology aware part, we can debate the wrapper, but at least for the technology aware part, we don't really make the core aware of the technology if we put an API to insert the technology profile as it is defined in the technology profile.proto, because the core does not really need to understand what's in there. It's just going to write it down to etcd. And using the proto, it means that while I don't know if it's supported right now, you could actually make incremental updates to the technology profile. That would mean we're pushing it to the OLT and things like that, but maybe. I'm not saying we need to do it right now. I'm saying that it is a possibility we could think about. But I'm just going to open it up. So my take is that we can have, but I'm just going to open it up to everybody and hear what you guys think about it.
So, so Andrea, not that I'm opposed to it completely, but I really don't understand why the core needs to do something of this. Because as you rightly said, right, the core is not interpreting this data. The core does not use this data. Then just to write it to the database, why do we need to go to the core?
So the reason behind this is that we have vOLTHA which if allows you with some implementation to change the backend, okay? And if you change the backend, which is where the element is stored, now you have to change whatever service from upper layers sends down the technology profile. Because right now, the technology profile, if you look at our Jenkins pipelines, we inject it via etcd. We call etcd-ctl and inject this into the etcd container. So let's say somebody else goes for Redis or for MariaDB, MariaSQL, whatever, some form of different backend than etcd. And we might do this in the future as well. You then have to change whatever service is calling your storage and making a different call from the northbound, adding effectively another piece of client to your services that stay on top of vOLTHA. So Mahir's point last time was, given that this is somewhat vOLTHA related, even if the core does not have to understand it, this is part of vOLTHA. This is related to OpenOLT and OpenOLT adapter, OpenOLT agent and adapter.
Okay, so let me put it in a different way. Why can't we just write a library function which can load the technology profile into whatever is the backend, which could be configurable, and any piece of software could use this library to load it, right? So instead of directly using HCD APIs or HCD Cuttle to load it, we could have a library function in, say, vOLTHA libgo, which could be imported as a package by any software, any Golang software, and be used to load the data into the backend, the tech profile into the backend.
Can we put that in vOLTCTL?
vOLTCTL is an executable, right? You cannot, I don't know if you can really import that into as a Golang package.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can, but as in the idea would, it's not really like a standalone lib, right?
So I can talk about a use case which is Turk Telekom is currently implementing. So there is a one central setup that is able to connect to every edge in every locations. So those edge has the user interface, and from using those interface, you can change the technology profile parameters. And if you change a parameter, then you need to update all of the edge locations, right? So to do that, you need to basically connect to an edge which is able to understand those technology profile APIs. And in that edge, that needs to be a component that knows that the vOLTHA is currently using the etcd or something else. All of the edges, you need to know what is the technology in the vOLTHA, or you need to know what is the address to access the etcd. So that is one of the basic reasoning why we want to have a single API to access to the vOLTHA, actually.
So, so Mahir, so even
Serkant, by the way. Sorry.
sorry, Serkant. Yeah, so even if you take that, right? So even if we just trying to see if there are other possibilities, right, or other thoughts. So even if we were to have an API on vOLTHA, once you have multiple vOLTHA stacks, you would anyways have to know all the instances that are running, right?
I just need to know the vOLTHA address, right? The single point of connect point for me. That is better. It is also acceptable to have two known address points, but having a single connect point is always better, I guess.
No, so so we have a single installation of vOLTHA, is it, with multiple stacks?
No, for Turk Telekom, it's one-to-one.
So, okay, so how many HCD instances do we have, or how many HCD clusters do we have?
Only one in case if you use etcd, but this is also different in our model right now.
Okay.
So it shouldn't depend on the technology under the vOLTHA.
Yeah,
Because,
I like to second this one, because that is for me even a stronger reason that vOLTHA uses etcd as in backend storage should be hidden from users. And yeah, as Andrea already said, we might change that in the future so that etcd is exchanged. And in this case, the library comes handy, but the library is not enough to set the technology profile. So therefore, the library should also be used in this proto to set the profile from my point of view. And the OLT adapter or UNO adapter can then use the library as well to retrieve it. But this way you are having it wrapped in all parts and can exchange it later, or exchange the path to etcd or inside NCD could also be a use case. So from this point of view, architectural, I find it sound to hide it.
No, so I think we agree that yes, definitely it should be hidden. But the question is, should vCore hide it or the RW core hide it, right? Because the RW core is not doing anything at all with this.
But RW core is the only part of the system that exposes northbound APIs.
Yes.
Yes.
If we're looking for a single point of entry into vOLTHA, then I'll support that to have this into RW core. The only thing is when we put it in RW core, since the core has no idea about tech profile, so the core will not do any validation. So it will be junk in, junk out if that's if junk is coming in. And
So,
also, if we want the adapters to read it, so the adapters will read it, will get it from where? From the core. We'll ask the core to pull it from the etcd, or do we want the adapters to go directly to etcd?
I mean, I think we are already going to VOLTHA libgo for the technology profile from the adapter, or are we not? Are we directly going to etcd?
I guess
from the
we
adapters?
are. Yeah, it's definitely it's not coming through the core. So I'm just wondering if we make tech profile an API from the northbound, are we also going to have an API from the southbound for the adapters to grab it if we want it to be like to be able to change?
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had some issues. I had to reconnect multiple times. I don't know what's wrong. So currently what happens is, the user uploads the tech profile to etcd, and when adapter requests it, so it's downloaded from etcd and it is unmarshaled. It is unmarshaled into the tech profile proto. So if the unmarshalling is success, that means the proto definition matches what's on the etcd, and that is then passed on to ONU adapter and then down to the OLT and so on. So the only validation is if the unmarshalling is success, the proto what's on etcd conforms to what's the proto definition. So that's how it's done. And the core could do the same thing. I mean, if it receives something, it could try unmarshalling it and see if it matches the proto definition, and then upload it to etcd, and then adapters would just pull it from the KV store. That could be a simple way of doing it.
That will mean moving the validation much earlier in the process.
Yes, which I do like, by the way. I think it's best. I think it's a better approach. So to reply to Ken, I think it's what we are doing right now for the adapters is the right thing. What we're doing right now is that they are getting it to VOLTHA libgo to the store. What we're doing and what we're not doing, and I think we should, because otherwise there's a mismatch, as you were saying, there's no northbound, but there is a southbound, is to put it in via the core. Because even though the core can be agnostic of what it actually means, so it doesn't look into it, it could actually do validation of it, which is good, because right now you could deploy the system, push the technology profile, connect the OLTs, and only at the connection time of the OLTs, it will actually check if the technology profile is correct. While if you do it via the core, you could have a check even before you connect an OLT. And if your technology profile is screwed up, well, you maybe fix it before you screw up the OLTs. Well, maybe.
Well, by validation, you mean that it only matches the proto definition, doesn't
Yes.
validate values?
Yeah, no, it doesn't validate the
Yeah,
value. It matches the proto definition. Right now, we're not doing it. We're just writing a JSON blob.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could potentially have that validation being set in a vOLTHA Go, and the code just invoke it. That's it.
Yes, I would do all of this in vOLTHA Go. I wouldn't do anything in the core.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
the
the core
validation
itself.
comes for free when you marshal the JSON into the proto.
Yes.
Yeah, but the vOLTHA Go, the tech profile, there is a tech profile module in vOLTHA Go that does much more, technological validation.
Okay.
But the first level of validation could be that it conforms to the proto definition. But more technological validations, I think core should not do it, and that will be done, much later.
So I don't know, this to me reminds a lot of the get external value API that we have introduced to fetch information from the news. The core actually doesn't care about that, but it propagates the call to the component that is interested in it. So I don't see an issue in having the same mechanism for the tech profile.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, I sort of don't fully agree to this, even with the get external, but I see no other good way of doing this. So yeah, I'll have to budge here.
Okay. So the agreement is that we do it. Am I understanding it correctly?
Just wanted to check one more point. So Girish, can you shed some light on what is the configuration that is passed to the adapters as to from where to pick up the tech profile?
Yeah, that is decided. So the adapter just queries the vOLTHA libcode that it needs the technology profile for it just passes the ONU serial number and I think the PON port and
but how does it know where is the location of the backend as well as the key prefix to use to get the tech profile?
So that is all fixed in vOLTHA libco, and there is a fixed format path to it that is known to the user, and it's sort of defined in the vOLTHA libco. It's you could say it's configurable. Part of it is configurable, like the path prefix, and certain suffixes hard-coded in the code. So the user has to be aware of this, and the user uploads it to that path before, and the vOLTHA libcode downloads it.
But the backend where it is stored is also configured to the adapters, right? When they're brought up.
You mean the HCD? Yes. Yeah, it's known.
The backend address, right?
Yes, it's known.
So practically speaking, as of today, it is possible that if someone wants, they could store only the tech profile into a separate backend, right? And not even store it with the HCD that vOLTHA is using. Only the tech profile could be kept in a separate backend. That's possible, right? As of today.
Well, the thing is that we will have to define a different backend. I mean, the backend is just one configuration, and that backend is used for everything. There is no tech profile backend. There is no other backend. I mean, you see what I mean, right?
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I was just trying to think that if that was one of the intentions, why we kept this tech profile completely out of the vCore, right? So just trying to think why what is there as of today, right? So that if we are changing something, we don't again go back to what we started from.
I think David was mentioning last week, if I remember, that they wanted to give to evolve, the technology profile definition much easily. I mean, so they didn't want to go it via the core. I mean, the operator could define any format they wanted, and that could independently evolve. So that provided some sort of flexibility. So that's why it didn't come via the core. The adapters could define whatever they wanted. But now that we have a proper definition, intentionally or unintentionally, yeah, it may be okay to come via the core, although the core is not doing anything with it.
Okay, got it.
If we have multiple adapters, are we potentially going to have multiple tech profiles?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, not many people have open source their adapter. We don't know what other things exist out there.
Hold on.
All we know is there is open.
That is my question to Niels. Niels, do you know if your OLT adapter for the Adtran OLT uses the technology profile proto, or does it use something different? I know it's based on the OpenOLT adapter, so I do believe it does, but do you know? Niels, can you hear us? Okay, maybe not.
Well, if people start, working in the open and discuss it, yeah, I mean, we could still keep open source and then evolve the proto definitions to, support various other technologies, various other formats. But if people are not coming to the open, I mean, this is what we believe is correct. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I would agree. I'll take an action item here and investigate with the vOLTHA with the Adtran team if they're using this definition. But
so sorry, Andrea, I was shortly out. So sorry, what did I miss?
No, we were asking if your Adtran OLT adapter is using the the tech profile definition proto as the OpenOLT adapter does, or if it's not using it.
Yeah, okay, I have no answer. Yes, I understand. I need to investigate.
Yeah, that's okay. Let me get also in touch with the folks from the OpenOLT adapter, the Adtran OLT adapter. I know them, so I'll ping with them and see if.
So yeah, Andrea, if I could share something on that. I think at least the same tech profile is being passed to the Adtran OLT adapter as well. So I assume that it's using the same.
That was my expectation.
Yeah,
but let me
it should.
Yeah, so because it's the same that is being used in the community for the DT workflow, the same tech profile is being used for the Adtran OLT adapter as well.
Yeah, that would also be my expectation. Yeah.
Okay, so if the two adapters that we know of, and one is not open source, but at least we know of, use this, I think we can go with it. That would be my take.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I would be happy to take in, comments or recommendations from non-open source adapters as well. The door is always open for that.
Oh yeah, the door is always open. Okay.
Are we going also to have a, since we're adding it, are we going to have all this other operation where we can delete it and modify it and whatnot?
What would be the repercussion? This is something I don't know. Maybe Grish, you know. What would be the repercussion of deleting the technology profile?
Yeah, if you delete the technology profile, then the newer ONUs that are being provisioned into the system, I mean, they will not find the template, and their provisioning would just fail.
Okay, but would it be allowed for you to provision ONUs with one technology profile, delete that technology profile, add a new one, and provision the other ONUs?
I think it's possible. I have not done that, but if I can just imagine that, I think what would happen is all the ones that are provisioned with the old technology profile would just continue to function, because you already have the technology profile instance that is created from the old template, and the new ones that are getting provisioned will start using the new template. And the instances will be created from the new template.
Okay.
The old ones will be unaffected.
Okay. That's good. That's fine for me.
But just to add on to that, you would normally not do that. I mean, if you want to add a new template, that would mean that it's a different service profile. So you would normally add it to a different technology profile ID. Yeah, that's the normal workflow.
Okay, but you should still be able to add a new technology profile ID, map it to other ONUs, and remove the old one. So if we have an add capability, we should have a delete capability, at least delete.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Serkant, Mahir, is this something that you guys will work on, or should I schedule it on our time?
So Andrea, actually for the voice over IP related profiles, we thought we can use the same API. So if we implement the voice over API things, then we should reuse the same API for the technology profile insertion. Yeah, so we can do this, I think.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Okay, I think this is this extinguishes the topic I had for the day.
I just checked I just checked the code. So the tech profile from the vOLTHA libgo is used also in our code.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So the vOLTHA libgo tech profile package, I mean, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, good. Given that we have a couple more minutes, I would like to open up the floor to see if anybody has any thoughts or comments that they would like to share with the team before we break.
Just one point, my audio was not working earlier. So on Serkant's patch, I provided a comment on Gerrit. So we need to clear the cache as well. Otherwise, it could create problems later. So the only, so we could get the keys to the cache by listing all the keys with the key prefix. I think I provided some low-level details there. Serkant, if it's not clear, I mean, we could discuss on Slack further. But I think we should be able to get all the keys that we need to clear from the cache.
Let's talk offline on the Slack. Yeah.
Okay. That's all from me.
Okay. Anything else that anybody wants to bring up?
So for the delete APIs for the technology profile.
Yes.
So is it okay to send the technology profile still as JSON, or should we directly send the proto definition?
Could we just send the key instead of sending the whole technology? Okay, no, maybe not. Sorry, maybe not. I was thinking that there is a technology profile ID and you just send that, and you just
No.
delete based on that. No, okay. Girish, what do you think?
Yeah, you send the proto, and that could be converted to JSON and uploaded. I mean, if you send the proto, that means it already conforms to the proto definition. So yeah.
So
That's good.
My preference would be a proto, because all the APIs that we're using use protos, don't use the JSON objects.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let us think about it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thanks everybody. Then let's talk again next week. Be on the lookout for the merging of these. You'll have to rebase your patches. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.